May the Noble Triple Gem bless you all. Welcome, yet another episode of Guide to Eliminate Stress and Anxiety. In the last episode, we discussed that the incident that you experience doesn't bring the stress and anxiety. Actually, your expectation brings the stress and anxiety. I showed you that the expectation actually brings the stress and anxiety. So let's further analyze this in today's episode as well, because it's a very strong point that you have to understand before delve deeper into this science of perception, how to understand how this stress and anxiety develops in the mind. So ladies and gentlemen, let's think about what are the moments that you feel stress and anxiety. Maybe the moment that you lost your loved ones, definitely that is very stressful moment. They are very painful memories that you experience, isn't it? Or you have to face traumatic experiences such as you meet with an accident or serious injury. Might be you have diagnosed with a cancer. Most of the people they get very stressful when they're diagnosed with the cancer. And sometimes maybe you lose your job. This is very stressful moment for the people. If you lose your job and you have to pay all your bills, and that your life will be really, really hard until you get another job. These are the moments that you experience stress and anxiety. When you experience this kind of situation, you don't know what you're doing actually. You go insane and you do everything, every possible thing to come out of that stress or anxious feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the interesting story. Even though you say you feel stress or you feel anxious, you feel sadness because that you lose your job, that is not true. The losing the job actually cannot bring unhappiness or unsettlement to your mind. That might be very contradictory to whatever you think, but hold on a second, I'll explain everything. Losing your job. Okay, how do you know that you lose your job? Definitely. You know from your mind, isn't it? You perceive that because someone, maybe your boss, is sending you a letter that I terminate your job or whatever. That's the moment that you perceive. That's the moment that you come to know that you lose your job. So what is the purpose of the mind? Mind's purpose is to perceive what is actually happening in the outside and take the decisions. But the thing is, when you get this letter of losing the job, terminating the job, then you start to experience the stress and anxiety. So this is a very interesting thing that you have to understand. How does that incident brings you stress and anxiety inside the mind? Because that what actually happens in the outside is a physical thing. There's not any relationship to the mental world that you're living. You always feel that losing the job brings you stress and anxiety. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not true. Your mind's purpose is to perceive that the losing of your job, and then you have to take action. You have to take solution for that. That is your duty. That is your responsibility. So here you have to understand two problems here. One is you losing your job. So you should be able to find solution for that problem as well. I'm not telling you not to stop. Don't stop finding another jobs, right? What you have to do is you have to separate out two problems. You have to separate out these two problems from the way you perceive is you perceive them together. You feel, okay, the stress and anxiety that you experience is associating with the whether you lose the job as that's the reason. That is the very reason that you feel stress and anxiety. That's what in your perception, in your world. That is true, ladies and gentlemen, because the moment you hear that message, that is the moment the stress and anxiety develops in the mind. So I cannot blame you, or no one can blame anyone, because that is totally okay. But the thing is, you have to, we all are human beings, isn't it? We have an incredible capacity to think about the problem rather than finding instant solution. So let's use that capacity to analyze the problem. Why otherwise? We are not taking the maximum usage of as a human being. Most of the animals cannot think like this. That's why I'm saying let's analyze this problem. So there are two problems here. One is you feel stress. The second one, let's say one. Number one is you lose your job. And the second is you start to experience stress or anxiety or whatever the sadness, depression levels. So out of these two problems, for the first one, that you lose your job. So what are the things that you have to do? Definitely now you have to find another job, and you have to think about why did you lose that job. Is there any particular way to reapply, or is there a particular way to negotiate with your boss, or whatever the mistake that happened to you. So you have to understand, you have to reflect, and you have to find a way to find a new job. Maybe you can seek help from different people who are expert in this industry, to finding jobs or whatever. And my job is not to help you for that problem number one. My job is to help you with the problem number two, because there's no one else in the outside world that who knows clearly what is actually happening with the mind, except for the Buddhas or Buddha's disciples. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the gospel truth you have to understand. Buddha didn't come to this world to talk about a religion. Buddha came to this world to explain to the people what is actually happening with them, with their mind. All the Buddhist textbooks, you will find the true truth of the mind, how this mind is working. When you understand, when you realize this, that realization actually helps you to liberate yourself from all the sufferings. Remember, you have to kill the mother and father to eradicate the suffering. Who is the mother and father of suffering? Can you guess? Yes, mother and father of suffering, he is the ignorance and attachment. That's why all these talks that all these videos that I'm transferring, that wisdom, that understanding to you, to eliminate the ignorance. Because when you don't have ignorance, then there's no attachment. There's no way to develop attachment when you don't have ignorance. So let's go back to the thing that we have been discussing, that the second question, the second problem that we have, that is the stress and the anxiety develops in the mind. Let's analyze how this stress and anxiety develops in the mind. Ladies and gentlemen, in your day-to-day life, you always have expectation. What is this expectation? Can you stop being expectation? No. If the causes are there, then you, even though you strive hard, you exert your all effort, you cannot stop expecting. So before delving deeper into the expectations, let's analyze that. Let's understand that expectation is the culprit. Expectation is the master who developed the stress. Here I want to take the analogy from the outside world. So this is the analogy, right? So when you feel stress and anxiety, when you feel the mental pressure, the mental vexation, that means you generate the heat. It generates the heat in the mental world, isn't it? Yes. Now let's come back to let's think about the outside world, the physical world. How does this heat generating? How? When two substances come together, there should be two things to generate heat. When these two things come together and rub against each other, That is the way to generate heat. That is the way to generate the pressure, isn't it? Yes. So there should be two things then, and rub each other. That means there should be two things and colliding each other. That collision actually generates the energy or the pressure or heat. Similar thing happens in the mental world as well. When you hear something, when you smell, taste, touch, or think, or always see as well. Sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and think. All these mental objects, the memories, when those things comes to your mind, in your mind, there's a second process happening. That is the process of expectation. The process of expectation, and then what actually happens here, when you internalize something from the outside, the mind is busy with creating an expectation. And then what happens? Now what you're doing is you are good matchmakers, right? What you're doing is you're matching whatever that you expect is there in the outside. That's why if someone is scolding at you, then you always feel pressure. Why? Because you don't want to listen. You want to hear something good words, something praise or some appreciation about you. But the thing is, when that person is scolding you, now that is not actually matches with what matches with your expectation. Then that moment, it collide each other. When this expectation and the reality meets each other, and you embrace it, then you feel the happiness. When the expectation and the whatever that comes from the outside collide each other, that is not matching with each other, that is the moment it generates the stress and anxiety. Ladies and gentlemen, now think about which generates stress and anxiety. The thing come from the outside or because of the expectation. Let's say I have a magical power to eradicate expectation out of your mind. Then what will happen? There's no one thing here now. Now things that coming from the outside is coming to your mind. You embrace them like as it is. I mean, you don't have expectation and you don't feel anything. You don't feel the grudge. You don't feel the friction. Now what you experience, you love, you embrace whatever the life brings to you. You can deal with whatever life brings to you. The thing is, I'm not saying that you don't have to take, I'm not saying that you don't have to take a solution for the problem. Yes, you have to take the solution. But the thing is, now you don't feel stress and anxiety. So you can freely and you can freely think about solution. For example, if you lose if your mom is in hospital, then if you don't feel stress, if you don't feel anxious, and if you don't feel sadness, then you can take the right decisions. You can think about, okay, what's the next thing that I have to do? Do I have to consult a specialist? Do I have to consult the local doctor, whatever? And take the decisions. Then you would be able to take the right decisions without any hassle. The thing is, the master of suffering, this expectation, the process of expectation is there. As long as you are expecting whatever that comes to your inside world, always colliding with each other or matching with each other, this is the moment that you experience happiness, when it matches with each other, and this is the moment when you feel stress, anxious, and fear. It's colliding each other. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand this very clearly. Even though you point outside world, this is because of you lose the job that I feel stress. That is totally wrong. Losing the job cannot give you unhappiness. You have to take the decision freely without expecting. But the thing is, there's a hidden process in the mind that generates the expectation. In the Buddhism, in the Buddhist core principles, there's a way to remove the causes of process of expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, That is why I'm saying, if you understand this, think about, this is the thing that each and every living being should know. Buddhism is not for the Buddhist, ladies and gentlemen. Buddha didn't come to preach for the Buddhists. Buddha came to this world to help all the living beings to come out of all the negative emotions and to experience the unconditional happiness. That's why all these efforts to transfer this wisdom to you, because literally thanks to my teachers, thanks to noble lineage of teachers, I received this wisdom, and thanks to my current teacher, that I was able to understand what Buddha has discovered in this world. And that's why I'm putting my all effort to teach you, to inform you, to show you these principles of the mind that you would be able to liberate yourself from the suffering. Because as always I'm saying, truth will set you free, ladies and gentlemen. When you understand the truth, the ignorance won't be there in the mind. When ignorance is not there in the mind, there's no attachment. Because of that, there's no expectation. So that's why we are on a journey to kill the expectation, right? But before that, you have to clearly understand that nothing in the outside brings you happiness. At the same time, nothing in the outside brings you unhappiness. Also, distaste, displeasure, or discontentment. That's why stress and anxiety develops in the mind, not because of the incident, but because of the process of expectation that happens in the mind. You have to understand this very clearly. This is the gospel truth, ladies and gentlemen. You have to understand this. So, until we meet next time again, please do reflect on this. Always watch this video again and again, and contemplate whatever I'm telling you, because as I mentioned, always expectation is the culprit. Think about whenever you face whenever you face your day-to-day life, each and every incident that you face, you always have an expectation, and because of this expectation, you always categorize this incident. Okay, this is good incident, bad incident, good incident, bad incident. This makes me happy, this makes me sad. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the gospel truth you have to understand. I can attest you, I can confirm that there's a way to eliminate this expectation process. But the thing is, you cannot touch what is actually happening in the outside. If you want to control the outside environment to match us with what your expectation, my God, then you have to work socks off. Even though you work socks off, you won't be able to control the outside world, ladies and gentlemen. Outside world is not according to the way you want. It is the things that act in the outside world is due to cause and effects. When the causes are there, the effect is manifesting. When the causes are not there, effects is not going to manifest. That's why please understand this. You cannot control whatever that comes to your world, but you can control this expectation. This is the only thing that you can control. That's why I'm inviting you. Let's try to point our fingers towards ourselves. Otherwise, you will be always pointing your fingers towards the outside. As long as you point your fingers towards the outside, you won't be able to liberate yourself from the suffering. So if you have any questions regarding whatever we discussed today's video, please put them in the comment section. We try our best to find solution for your questions and comments. And always do reflect on whatever that we discussed throughout this video. And until we meet next time again, please do reflect that whenever your day-to-day life, please apply this concept into your life experiences. That is a golden thing that is something must that you have to do to understand the wisdom that I want to transfer to you. So see you in the next episode of Guide to Eliminate Stress and Anxiety to brighten up your life.